And welcome to the broadcast. So glad you're with us tonight. I really am excited. You know, a lot of times I've been trying to do this forever. When you have a guest or a conversation that you look forward to having, and things always pop. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. But tonight I have a special a friend, lifetime friend, business partner, and just a brother that I really do admire. And our headline, We Buy Black, Do You Buy Black? Talking about the power of the black dollar. And joining us is, like I said, childhood friend Al Rim, who is has been again a part of my life since we were like 8 years old. And now he is the CEO of Delicious Brands, including Delicious Beverage, which is a amazing, amazing product. So first of all, what's up, Al Rim?
What's happening?
And it's amazing. Like when you know somebody, and I'm probably sentimental, but you get to. Are you 50 yet, man?
Yeah, man. Come on.
Oh, you in? Okay, you in the club? Okay, so
I'm not owning up to it, but yeah.
Yeah, and you know to know somebody for like 4 decades is crazy.
Serious.
And it's so funny because your lives coincide with other people. I was actually talking about you earlier today, Al, and I mentioned it, and I was like talking to somebody else, and I was like, yeah, so Al Rim, you don't think you know him? Then he was like, oh yeah, you know him, because damn, everybody knows you for these 40 years I've been doing radio or whatever.
True. Baltimore. And what's up, Baltimore?
You were able to. In your military days, basically, we kind of like crisscrossed. But anyway, and people are checking in. What's going on, family? I see y'all.
We was roommates.
Huh?
You said crisscross. We was roommates.
Right. That's true. That's true. And I never forget when Al, yes, he always a thin man. He joined me. He was down, y'all. He was down. He was down, and he joined. We had some fat depression eating. I wasn't depressed though. I was doing what I do. But Al was down. You remember, man? We get that church. We did the bucket of churches.
I remember you sending you to the bucket of churches when you come back and all the fries we already eaten. I was like, man, can't you get back with the fries?
and from that to Albert having a concept. And let me tell you something. This brother is a serious entrepreneur since day one. Al had concept after concept, and and the funny part is you were ahead of your time because most of them were right there. They were right there. Vivi just checked in. What's up, Vivi? Claudette, Lynette, how's it going? But Delicious Beverage is the one. Yeah, you had a lot of them out, but I think this is the one. So tell us about Delicious Beverage, where we are now that it's available. And we'll start that our conversation there.
Well, I think taking a step back, I just wanted to the highlights and the low points of being an entrepreneur. I think that I learned some lessons over the, shall I say, 30 years?
Damn!
30 years of entrepreneurship and failures, pseudo successes, mostly failures. But I think in every failure you learn something, and I was blessed to have education and engineering degrees where I could go back to corporate America, earn some money, learn some more stuff, and then maybe launch out on another potential project that could lead to ultimate failure. Anyway, so I think that
shout out to Benji Frazier, who just joined the party. Another childhood friend from a million years ago. Go ahead, bro.
Yes. He's probably still got a warrant out for my arrest, but it was so bitchy. But so what I learned after many failures is that you got to have a source of income. You got to have a source, whether it be angel investor, loans. You got to be able to fund your vision, your passion with something, right? And so I am blessed now to be able to stay in corporate America and help fund the business, give it the foundation, the proper advertising, the proper push that is required in order to bring a business up correct. And I think that a lot of black businesses aren't being funded correctly, aren't don't have the look and feel of professionalism. Their websites aren't operating efficiently, and don't have the advertising budget to really do it right. So I think that there's a opportunity here for us to do better. There's an opportunity. I'm glad to see people like is it not Iron Mike, not Crazy Mike something. He's starting a digital bank.
Okay. Killer Mike.
Killer Mike, yes. Some people like Killer Mike looking to start this digital bank, which is already a success even before he opens up day one. And if they truly take a percentage of those money that's being deposited into that bank and fund it and help fund these black businesses, I think we're well on our way. As far as delicious beverage is concerned, I think my experiences in the food industry helped me and my family, me and the wife design a product that was. We tried to keep it clean label, try to keep the, as clean as possible to give, even though it's a treat, it's it's an indulgence, if you will, because, black folks got to watch their sugar. But at the end of the day, if you're going to eat some sugar, eat our stuff. So keep it in the family. I know you've got your options out there. And I think the whole purpose of today's conversation is, as we look at our options and what we're buying, are we truly considering buying black products, right? And, if anyone on the call today has a can of Country Time lemonade on their shelf, then you should consider delicious beverage. If you've got a coffee syrup in your cabinet, you should consider delicious beverage. So it's really about what can we do? Are there companies out there that can supply our needs and be on par or better than the brands that we're already buying? And I think that's important.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I wanted to hop on because you had this kind of brainstorm as we were just talking on the phone, and I wanted to hop on because I think this election, this new president, this COVID situation has black businesses really exploding. I'm going to say we, Al, because I'm a part of Delicious Beverage, but we just joined We Buy Black, and We Buy Black is exploding. And the thing I love about you, Al, and I was just thinking about it, sadly, those who paid attention, me too, I can ramble on things that seem like they're not tied together, but please just bear with me. I just saw Ray Lewis break down some defense information, right? And I was like, Ray Lewis is he was an amazing player because why? The real reason was he was a defensive guru and he studied everything you need to know about defense. And now he's in a perfect scenario where he's working in a network and that's what he does. They go to the film, Ray, break it down, right? And he's giving you insight into defense that the average person and even the professionals who even play the game have no idea because they didn't spend hours and hours breaking down. They didn't have the passion. They didn't have all that. I say that, Al, because I thought about you and I was thinking about, as an engineer, and my daughter, my oldest daughter has the kind of mindset. As an engineer and people who are engineers, you guys approach things differently than the liberal arts, artistic type the group that I fit in. You guys really look at the facts. I mean, math and science. You look at it. You look at systems. I think we think things just happen. Like when I look at a phone or I look at email, I'm like, magic. It's magic. You guys look at it like, well, there's a tower, there's energy, there's electricity, and so I think working with you as a partner is great because you have given me insight into conceptualizing things and how things don't just magically happen. And so the way I saw you attack, so we start with Delicious Beverage as a product. Because you're a chemist, a chemical engineer, because you worked in food service, food industry, and because you worked with ingredients specifically, when you made our product, it's made on a super high level that the average dude is just not going to have because they wouldn't have the experience. You have real experience and you have an approach. And then, when I look at the website and now look at the social media and the way that you've attacked, okay, how do I make this thing? How do we market and promote this thing in the most efficient manner? Same way you approach it with studying YouTube videos, reading books, looking at influencers,
Yeah.
hearing other people's stories. And so thank you for that, Al. And I think, to be honest, in the Black community, that's something that's been missing, and it's something that can make us winners if we start to approach things more like that. Not
Yeah.
emotion, not emotion, not he said, she said, not what they do. No, look at the numbers, look at the information, approach it in a systematic way and an efficient way, and work together. And I think we can get somewhere.
And I think we also need to cut ourselves some slack, each other some slack, right? You go to a site and we're super critical, whereas you don't hesitate to purchase or buy the things that you're used to buying, which is 99% of it's white brands, right? So for us to give ourselves a chance, give these owners that are trying to supply us with products some feedback. You don't necessarily got to blow them up online and give them bad ratings, which can hurt their business, but give them the proper feedback. Everybody's email is available for you to shout them out privately, but also shout them out publicly when it's great comments, and to give us a chance to make things better, to grow our businesses, to grow our companies, and that I think that feedback allows us to do better. We have to take that feedback and make our products better, make our customer service better, our customer experience better. We're doing pretty well, and we're starting to see our website performance slow down, right? So you go on the website, it's a little slow because hundreds of people might be on there at the same time. And so that's the next level of performance. I had heard that Shopify can slow down, and I was like, it seems pretty quick for me. But obviously it starts to slow down when you start to have a lot of visitors, a lot of customers on your site, which is a good problem to have. But so that's the next level. Troubleshooting, figuring out what, software, what stuff that I don't need, and really just try to hone in on what's good.
Well, you know what? And I think this actually could be uh, something that we just start doing regularly to really be a forum for that. Shout out to Janine Williams. I see you, Janine. A lot of the people or people who hopped on, they know the Allison and Marc brand or Marc Clark brand, and now we're kind of talking Black business. But I think, Al, this would be a great way for us to build that is because, like you just said, a lot of the times as we've kind of from building the website, which you did, to designing the product packaging, there's things that happen that if you talk to somebody who had done it before, they may have been like, yo, look at make sure the moisture situation with the packaging is blah, 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 blah. Or like you said, with little tricks to deal with your online piece. My former partner with Archer Pine, Morgan, she's for like 5-10 years has helped people package their stuff on Amazon, and so I'm sure she knows a whole bunch of tricks to how you, whatever, present things, whatever. But as we found out, there's not a place where you go to get the information. You just kind of have to figure it out by yourself, by trial and error, or if you happen to know somebody. So maybe this can be a forum once a week where we kind of do go over stuff like that. And so we were talking about the buy black thing because, like you said earlier, Al, if we all use paper products, we use things around the house. So the question becomes, why am I not buying products made by Black folks and circulating the dollar? That makes a big difference. When somebody decides not to buy Country Time and buy Delicious Beverage, that allows Delicious Beverage to offer more things to the market, and that's the part that, like you said, instead of so people go to delicioussbeverage.com. I love it. And it's almost like a Black restaurant. People are, it's cool, but the chicken wings are too expensive. Look, there's a lot there. There are a lot of reasons for that.
Yeah,
but we're a community.
More people buy, it would allow us to reduce the price, right? Because you want to pass on economics of scale onto your customers. And what a lot of people don't understand is that in order to manufacture, right, you've got to buy in bulk. And there's a lot of manufacturing companies that won't even look at you because you don't have enough volume. So it's always the cart before the horse, or we always have hurdles or obstacles in our way that other people, other companies don't have. And so when you really talk about owning your own brand and owning we talk about, in theory, from farm to fork, being able to understand and own all aspects of the supply chain, right? When can we start to leverage that? And at the end point, when you put all the ingredients together and put it into a package, what company is actually doing the manufacturing, right? And so ultimately, I want to see Black folks on all aspects of the supply chain. Where am I buying my sugar? Is there a Black company I can buy sugar from? So we're not even close to being where we could be. First of all, though, as a people, we need to decide we're going to start buying Black products, and I think that's one of the first steps.
Benji had a good point. He says a lot of people talk about customer service. It's not necessarily the price, it's customer service. And you're absolutely right, Benji. I think we've all had that experience where, the soul food restaurant that has the rudest people at the front desk.
What are they doing?
But despite that, you go because you love the food. Or you go, like you said, the service is terrible, but it's almost like it's the price you pay if you're trying to do Black business. We can't do that. That has to stop, because you can't, if we're really trying to compete, we can't do that. Now, if we, like Delicious Beverage, which we are striving to do, if we are a community and we connect to our people, it's one, and you can say that, Benji, hey, I like your product, but I left the message and y'all didn't respond. Then we respond, or then we say, hey, Benji, sorry about that. Here's a coupon for 20% off. Please continue supporting the brand, blah, 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 blah. Now we got each other. And when I say we got each other, because now if you now have a product that you're selling, you should be able to say, hey, what's up, Al and Mark? I bought Delicious Beverage for the last 5 years. I'm launching something I need your help with, and I need you to support me. And we're like, it ain't even a question. It's not even a question. That's just what we do, And then, like, Al, you can expand on the point of, like you said, the manufacturing points, which that's an area that's what we look to in the future. A lot of these successful Black companies aren't manufacturing their products, so you're always beholden to your manufacturer, who's usually, another country or white or whatever. There's very few manufacturers here in the U.S. that are African American. Go ahead, Al.
That's absolutely right. And so, we founded a company called Black Manufacturing, and we're fulfilling and manufacturing our own products. Everything is not 100% in our control just yet, so we strive to keep building and keep continuing to own more and more of our products, so you're not beholden and you're not your supply chain. You have to understand you have to have alternatives and duplicate supply chains, and so you never run out. You don't want to stock out of your product. Some people look at, we're sold out, as being a positive thing. You don't go to Kraft and find mac and cheese sold out. They don't sell out because they anticipate, they understand the marketplace. They know that they need to have this much on hand, and we're learning every day. But I think it's exciting to learn these things. It's exciting to know that people are starting to pay attention, and we just gotta, keep pushing more and more, and keep understanding that we spend a lot of money as Black folks. If we only gave a percentage of that, all Black companies that are out there right now would be multi-million-dollar companies. If we just, a fraction of us went towards doing that. And then we have to continue to understand, where's all the money going, right? So 2.3% of my money goes to Shopify. I don't have an alternative to Shopify right now. So those tech people, Morgan, get back on your horse. Archer Pine was genius. Let's get it going, and continue to strive.
It's so funny. So for those who don't know, Archer Pine, when I was in New York, I ran across this genius sister, and Morgan had this great idea for a company called Archer Pine. We were partners. It was going to be the Black Amazon, and we had about 60 vendors. We call them artisans. And things were looking good. Then we got hacked, man. That's another part, Al. But who knew? Like, we got hacked by just a regular hacker first. Then we got hacked by like a serious, like, industrial Russian hacker. that took us down. All that hard work was taken down to the bare nubs. And the reality was, as you mentioned before, as a startup black business, we were funding this, for my honest, Morgan was carrying the load. Okay. I was, I was putting in sweat equity,
Right.
which really, so at the end of the day,
You got plenty of that, by the way.
okay, that was good. At the end of the day, that so it went away, and we had, and in fact, the a few of the artisans that we had on our site have blown up. The sister who was at, they did the story about Target, who had feminine products at Target,
Yes.
and there was some backlash. Yeah, she was a part of it, and just like you, Al, the way Morgan approached it was just so genius. Like she had me with all of them. You guys can go to YouTube and just type in Archer Pine. She had me do a podcast interview with all of our artisans, and they still live on YouTube, and they still get thousands of because again, building the story like what we're doing right now, building the story, connecting to people. If we can consistently do this, like I want to say, open the floor. If you do have a business and you have any questions, your startup or you want to start up, Al has really started, 4 or 5 really businesses for real. Like from in the mall to, just different, in different genres too, not just in the food service piece. But if you have any questions about business, you guys please feel free to ask those. I wanted to I wanted to tell the story about the brother with the auto ship, but I can't for some reason when I pull my phone up it starts to interfere with the signal. But I'll just tell the story about a weird coincidence and also the reality of how serious. There's a reason why black businesses have a struggle. There's a reason. Why? Because we're such huge. America depends on us as consumers. We are such consumers. That's why when the Black Wall Street and the different places, the different cities that had these black communities that were thriving, it's because if you could imagine if we couldn't spend the money with white folks and you just had to go to a black business, it would just take months before you're creating millionaires. And in Black Wall Street, they mentioned they had their own airport. They had numerous doctors. They had numerous lawyers. They had a bus line. I mean, it was crazy. But just think about it. If black folks in America could only spend money at black businesses, America would even take a hit financially. But anyway, I was telling Al when we had Archer Pine, right? And I would kind of do the pitch. People say, "What is Archer Pine?" Now, first of all, Archer Pine is acknowledging Black Wall Street. It was Greenwood, Archer, and Pine. That's actually the Gap Band. That's what the Gap Band stands for. But those were the streets of Black Wall Street. And so we had the concept. We started getting the vendors. And so in my elevator pitch, people would say, "Oh, what is it?" And I said, "Well, it's like a Black Wall Street. I mean, it's like a Black Amazon. We're going to have black artisans sell their wares, blah, 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 blah." So when I was being in the DMV, Maryland, Virginia, and in the DC area, when I would do my elevator pitch, this brother's name kept coming up. And they were like, "Oh, yeah, that reminds me of so-and-so." And this brother, what he was doing was he was getting us to sign up with auto ship for black-owned companies. So paper goods, household goods, black-owned companies. He was having people sign up with an auto ship. So if you had a black-owned company, you get a part of the auto ship.
Was he running it like a multi-level marketing?
I think he wasn't even doing like a multi-level marketing, but he was pushing the concept, and he had, I think, starting with paper goods and cleaning goods, he was starting there, right?
Okay.
So his name came up like out of the blue 2 times and then a 3rd time. And I was like, that's deep, right? So then the 3rd time the person came up, he said, "Well, that sounds like so-and-so. Too bad he got killed by the sniper." I was like,
the DC sniper?
Yeah. I was like, what? He got killed by the sniper? Like that was that random? It's random, right? I just thought that was weird, right?
Wow.
So I'm on YouTube, as we all sometimes do, get on YouTube and you're looking through things. And of course, the late Dick Gregory was one of my favorites. Allison calls me a conspiracy theorist. I'm always, you're
a conspiracy realist.
I'm a conspiracy realist, exactly. So I see the headline, and it was the brother's name. It was like, whatever his name, and the DC sniper. So I'm like, I got to click that. Boom, I click it. Dick Gregory goes on to say that the brother had just secured $100 million bridge loan from whatever company and was taken out by the sniper. And he was, of course, Dick Gregory was saying the sniper, who was former military, this was not, it wasn't random. This was not something that was just random. It was deeper. It goes deeper than we think. So, on that alone, you go, okay, Dick Gregory, what I mean? Okay, I'm not going to say I believe it 100%, but I'm not going to say I don't believe it. But here was the part, Al, that made you shiver. I was watching the screen like, what? So if you remember, during that time, a black policeman came to prominence. Chief Moose became famous during the sniper thing because, it happened in Maryland, but then the jurisdiction, I think, got moved to D.C. And he became kind of a star because he was a good-looking guy, brown skin, black guy now in charge of this investigation. Now, what we didn't know was Chief Moose and the sniper were on the same Air Force base, the same unit for the National Guard in Oregon.
What?
What? That's pretty coincidental. So anyway, I say all that to say the game is serious. Now, when we start talking about manufacturing, which Delicious Brands will do, and we start pushing out, hundreds of, we have clients and we have manufacturing clients, and it gets bigger and stronger. To be honest, just like We Buy Black, if we're honest, We Buy Black is really the beginning of a lot of opportunities if they take advantage of them. They may not, though. But like what they have there, it becomes a very interesting. You take a very interesting place in America when you start doing that, because that's something that we haven't been able to do, and every time we do, something happens. Unless you partner with certain people.
Yeah. You keep them in the game.
Yeah, if you partner with certain people, then it's probably okay. But if you're trying to do it, because that's the part that, I've told you this before, Al, when shout out to Saphir Robb, international business guy, and I rolled with Saphir, let me roll with him a couple years after a radio gig and Big Fat Morning Show was over. And so he's I had a chance to go to Dubai and Qatar and different places with him. And the two things I noticed about that, first thing in Dubai, the history of those countries where a man's last name goes back like 20 generations.
Yep.
So therefore, by his name alone, you know who his family is. And it also links you to that family. So in other words, in Dubai, when Dubai went through their financial problem because they don't have oil, they're a tourist spot. So the cousin was like, all right, I'll give you $80 million. Just put my name on the highest building. Because it was his cousin. Yeah. Imagine if we had that same thing, where, Al Rim, oh yeah, that's my cousin. I'll front you $100 million. You know what I'm saying? And then the banks, in America, see, when we go to a bank, they know ain't no mysterious rich black people in America. The city knows all the multimillionaires. Anybody that can make something happen, they're very aware of.
Yeah.
That's why people from other countries have more leverage, because when an African brother walks in, you don't know who his cousin is. When Akon, the singer, you don't know that his damn dad was a, king of something. You know what I mean? So, and that's the part I think we definitely don't have. We have it like in the reverse, where you're kind of out there by yourself. Just remember, Oprah was struggling. If Tyler Perry hadn't put them shows together, her network was going down the drain. And that was true. Oprah. Yeah. Okay? And that's what that does, Al, is it creates a scenario where, okay, now Delicious Beverage is doing well. They almost make it so if Delicious Beverage reaches out and try to help too many people, they'll shoot Delicious Beverage down, and we all fall down.
Hey, now.
So it creates almost a mentality sometimes, I think, with black businesses where it's kill or be killed, or you just kind of like stay focused on what you're doing, and therefore you don't help others. So it kind of creates this loop that we always fight. That's our problem, right?
But I think we gotta, stay focused and stay under the radar and just slowly build this phenomenon, because at first it's going to appear to just be a passing sort of thing, right? Black Lives Matter. It comes, it goes. We don't keep the momentum. But when it starts to tap into these dollars, and when people start to, what taught me a lot about this country and the people in this country is this latest presidential election, right? We know this president is crazy as hell, but 70 million people voted for him. They overlooked all his foibles and craziness and racism. What does that say? It means the dollar matters. He kept the stock market high and their 401ks at a relatively high point, ignoring all other things to get there, right? And then the racism and the people that are afraid of black people, afraid of losing their jobs and all that stuff, he feeds into that. And so people will, they don't want to be the low man on the totem pole, right? And so for us to raise up and to rise up will put them at less of a thing. And that fear alone will cause them to vote against their own best interest. They know he doesn't have a health care plan, right? But he's going to get rid of Obamacare because why? It's Obamacare. That's the only reason they are focused on removing it, because they don't want that man to have a legacy, and he's a black man. And so Trump's legacy, I don't believe will be anything other than, of course, I don't want to put that on permanent, but I'm just saying,
yourself, mister.
Yeah, let me watch myself. I don't want to get shut down before we get started. So, but we did learn something. There's 70 million people out there that could give a shit about black folks, and we got to watch ourselves. And I look at all the red states, and I go and click on the red state and see the map of where pockets of blue and red are. I'm just going to start avoiding the red places. Find out we need to be more intelligent, more understanding of what products to buy. Procter and Gamble, I know that they're racist. Of course, these conversations will come back to haunt me one day. But Procter and Gamble,
easy, sir. What are you doing?
Easy, sir. What am I doing?
Is the marketing not representative, but slow your roll, son.
Yeah, I apologize, Procter.
You work for Kraft, right? You didn't work for Procter and Gamble, right?
No, I work for Kraft. Yeah.
Shout out to Rondi. What's going on? So Benji and the wife have ordered Al. They're going to do a review.
Oh, okay.
They're ordering now.
Thanks, Benji.
And you're right, Benji. People are blind to the truth. I think the part that I'm so excited about, Al, with this product and just being a part of this. First, it started with vending. It started with you, and I always tell this story. Albert and the wife, you guys lived off Delicious Beverage as a festival, vending at festivals.
Yep,
and actually came to DC for the H Street Festival, where Albert and his wife worked their ass off in 100-degree weather. Benji, I wanted to get a chair and sit. I was giving out samples, but Al and his wife were working so hard, I couldn't justify sitting down. But let me tell you, and I've vended, I didn't get a chance to vend a lot, but in the experience, it was it was so physical, like setting up the tent, taking care of your customers, all this stuff. But back to the personal service. And that part was great because Delicious Beverage had great service. And also, you created the table where people could actually test the product, which was a huge smash. And people don't really do that as far as you can mix the flavors. It was amazing. I just thought it was amazing what you did, man. And
the sample table.
The sample table, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, Al, so give us your top three, the things you learned, and this could be for those who listen who are in customer service, the one-to-one piece, top three things you learned there, and then top three things versus online that you learned.
I think the top three things when you're out in the field doing your concessions is interacting with the customers, right? And I think that we found that there might be other competition at a festival or a street fair, because of just poorly run events. You might be right next to another beverage company, but we always were confident that we would do well because we had a sample table, meaning you could sample our product before you buy. How many people have went out there, bought some drink, and as they were walking away, sipping on it, going, "This tastes disgusting," right? And so we wanted to make sure that people knew exactly what they were buying before they bought it. So we had a sign that said, "Try before you buy." And so that was a huge endeavor. And then we moved our counter outside the tent. So we're interacting with people, asking people to come and try samples. And so that went to the customer service aspect of it. And so customer service and giving people a chance to sample your product and the look and feel of your booth. You can't be janky. So I seen signs of some of your setups, Mark, and so I kind of shaved my head. I was is that a delicious beverage tent?
It was terrible.
It's not in the spirit of how we get down. But at the same time, you don't have to have everything in place before you get out there and start working. So don't wait. Just get out there, do your best, and put your best foot forward. As far as online. Once again, you don't have to have everything in place before you get started. I think there's a huge fear that people have. How am I going to do this? And I think that we tend to talk ourselves out of stuff. But if you've got a famous thing, a cookie product that's best cookies in the world, just start doing your homework. Figure out how to do what. Watch YouTube, the greatest invention ever created since the wheel. Learn what you need to learn, and then ask questions and reach out, try to find a mentor. I welcome people to, try to follow me on Facebook. If you can find me, I've got 10 followers. Because there was another Al profile that has thousands of followers, but I don't check that anymore. I just wanted to start over and really focus on real friends, real people that have common interests that are going to take this thing to the next level.
And so Rondi said, Rondi, who again is the ultimate supporter of everything over the years that I've done, and he's one of the movers and shakers in the Baltimore, D.C. area. He says, tell us the story. Margaritaville's ridiculously funded brand. I believe you both have something. So give us the story of Delicious Beverage. One in the light of Margaritaville, Jimmy Buffett. It's he created that escapism world in Jamaica and these different getaway locations. When you think of Delicious Beverage, maybe share about the other products and stuff too.
Well, we wanted to create Delicious Beverage in a way that it could be marketable and turn into franchises across the country. And so one of the first things that we wanted to build upon was something that was reproducible and recreatable and always tasted the same, no matter if you were in Baltimore, Atlanta, Chicago, Los Angeles, Long Beach, wherever you were. If you were a franchise of Delicious Beverage, you were always going to taste the same. So just like McDonald's, just like Burger King, we wanted to create a franchise model where the consistency was always there. And so that's why we didn't go with the liquid tea and liquid lemonade initially. And that's why we didn't necessarily go with fresh squeeze. We figured out how to formulate our lemonade so it was consistent every time. We didn't want to create this fresh squeezed approach. You've seen the vendors out there at fairs and so forth. They're squeezing their lemons. Sometimes fresh squeezed lemons taste disgusting. So we want it to always be delicious, and that's one of our phrases. That's always delicious. And so so if I go back one more step, the concept actually was a guy in Chicago. He was formulating his sweet tea in his garage, and he had some hustlers out there that would come pick up his product every day from his garage and go sling it on the streets, right? So it was like crack in Chicago. And someone, because he wanted to branch out further than Chicago, but couldn't figure out how to do it because he's making it in his garage and it spoils within a week or so. And so how are you going to do it outside of your garage? And so since I was a serial entrepreneur, they connected us and they asked me to figure out how to help this man bring his product across the country. And so I went to thinking about how he could create consistency and be able to share his formula without giving all his secrets away, because that was what he was concerned about. If he shows people how to make it, then they're just going to go out and cut him out and make it themselves. And so I said, well, you've got to formulate and create a product and bottle the concentrate or something. So then they always are dependent upon your concentrate, and then they add water to it. And then boom, you've got a product that can be distributed nationwide, right? And so I flew to Chicago to have our first meeting to help this man create a brand that he could distribute across the country. And he stood me up. So I'm literally waiting in the juice bar or the coffee shop, a Black-owned coffee shop in Bronzeville, and waiting for him, and he never arrived. So I give him a call. He didn't answer the phone. I go by his office, and no one answered the door. And so I literally get on the phone with my wife and say, you know what? We could probably do this ourselves. I didn't say probably. I said, we're going to do this ourselves. And literally within 2 months, I had already flown to a manufacturer in New Jersey to work on formulating delicious beverage, the sweet tea, the lemonade, and we started working on our purees at the house. And so that's how Delicious Beverage was started. It was started because Black folks have that crab mentality, and they think we're all there to try to pull each other down, to try to steal his idea. And I was trying to create a concept that he'd be able to share across the country and eventually the world. And he got scared, and he didn't answer the phone. So that's how Delicious Beverage started.
Okay, so we're going to change that story. Actually, we're going to change that story, which would be you're part Jamaican and your grandmother gave you this amazing recipe.
I got to keep it real.
And so, also, just so people know, Delicious Beverage also has vegan products. Those aren't available online yet, but just live, and they would be available in the franchise that comes down the line, right?
All our products are formulated vegan.
And so you got the grilled cheese.
Oh, you're talking about that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Grilled cheese, tuna, grilled cheese, tuna sandwich, and a BLT, right?
Yeah. So as franchise owner, you'd have access to our recipes for our chickpea tuna milk and our vegan grilled cheese sandwiches and the BLT, which is all of them are amazing. And what we found out in the field is that sometimes if it's colder outside, the drink business can fluctuate. And so we had to find a way to, balance our bottom line every time we go out. And we want to make sure we can make $4,000 or $5,000 every time we step out in the field. And it's funny. I was telling Marc, I was like, hey man, you can make a lot of money doing Delicious Beverage, especially in DC, Baltimore. Black people are going to love this. And he was like, man, I can't imagine making $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 stepping out the house. And so when he saw us at the H Street Festival, he was like, good Lord,
right.
This is what it takes to make that kind of money. There's work involved.
It was nonstop activity. Yeah. Benji sharing his story. He said, when I started my security firm before I got in law enforcement with no money, was making $250,000 a year, didn't have a clue and lost it. Researched, picking other Black owners' brains. It happened real fast, and I couldn't keep up. I have learned so much since the failure. I have the training now, post-certified, firearms instructor, CPR instructor, training instructor, research. And yes, it Benji, back to what we were saying early on. If I'm honest, as a veteran radio announcer, it's one thing that I really am kind of like ask myself, because now we're in a time with all the with everything. You ask yourself, what in the hell do you know? You're 50 years old. What is something, back to the Ray Lewis who knows defense? What is something that Marc Clark knows? You know what I'm saying? And it's interesting because Al, as the business owner and as somebody who cares about me and loves me, he wants to plug me in, but he can't afford for me to suck at whatever he plugs me in at. So
Right.
he's and so okay, what does Mark Clark know? And for those who know me, well, I do. I know how to communicate. I'm a connector. I can tell. I know broadcasting. But how does that translate into the other world? And so, like you said, Benji, I'm finding at 54, I'm researching because I'm trying to get up to speed to platforming, the different platforms that are available and how to best get your message across. I'm a storyteller, but how do I tell that story or the delicious beverage story over here and be effective? So it's like life, what you realize is it really doesn't ever stop. It really, especially in the entrepreneurial life. Al and we dealt with a couple different types. We had one of the guys going to do a hot video for us. He's a little younger, and he's kind of like, he was, criticizing. We need to work on this, need to work on that, need to work on this. That's from his perspective as a young person and that young audience. And then you have the perspective, like in our circle, we're generation whatever, Y or Z, whatever, and so Facebook, that's our people right there.
Yep.
Homeowners, family. Many of the kids are a little bit older. Blah 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 blah. Then you got TikTok. Al and I, we're having Al's daughter do TikTok videos. A shout out to Cynthia Cake Knox in Baltimore. Cynthia, I hit her the other day. She said a brother came to her restaurant in Baltimore. She has a cake shake, a new product. He made a TikTok video. She said she woke up and had 40,000 new followers, and she didn't know what the hell was going on. She goes to her restaurant, and to this day, there are lines around her spot every single day since that happened.
Wow.
She had no idea it was not on TikTok, whatever. That was because one consumer made that decision. So that's the kind of world we live in, where you can't rely on how things used to be.
Yep.
Randy says, stick with it. As an entrepreneur, I started Big Kahuna Fruit Shakes, operated for 5 years while working full time. Stop, Shop, and Save Markets gave me space to set up seasonally. Definitely a factor.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And thanks, Randy. I didn't even know that, man. And so, yeah, I think, Al, we're going to probably wrap up. This went longer than we thought, but I think we'll do this. Let's do this, man. And anybody, again, you can hit me if you want to be on as a guest. Benji, Rondi, we'd love to include you guys in the conversation next time we go up. And then, of course, you guys have checked out deliciousbeverage.com. And, if you guys have a few dollars, go ahead and order your product. And I put out there, you can use Al. What's your code to give the discounts? I want to take advantage.
No, I mean, come on, man.
Mark 2020.
Mark 2020.
Any parting shots, Al?
And stay tuned. The Black Friday specials. Of course, buy something today, but on Black Friday, you'll be able to do some real stock up because we're going to have some great savings.
Thanks, everybody, for supporting. Appreciate you. Have a great weekend. Al, take care.
I appreciate it.
We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.